came here in 1986 to run it for myself in October. I signed the papers and I was owner of the Red Barn Incorporated. People come in here for the experience, more so than I think anything else. And they love the fact that somebody's actually taking the time to listen. Find that balance between doing what you love that isn't really work, that might pay the bills, and more importantly, can resonate with people and actually to some extent help people. That's pretty rewarding. Without my customers, I would be doing what I don't love, guaranteed.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, you're giving me money? Goody.
I'm going to call this meeting to order. Our first order of business is public announcements. State primary elections and MSAD 49 school budget validation referendum elections will be held at the Community Center on June 12, 2018. Absentee voting ends on June 7th. Details may be found at www.fairfieldme.com. The town office and all non-emergency services will be closed on Monday, May 28th, in observance of Memorial Day. Summer concerts in the park begin on June 15th. The concerts are from 6 to 7:30 p.m. each Friday. The Fairfield Memorial Day Parade with Lawrence High Marching Band and Fairfield Benton Fire and Rescue will take place at 11 a.m. on Monday, May 28th. Starting at the Fairfield Community Center, traveling Main Street and Western Avenue, stopping at Maplewood Cemetery, and then Monument Park. The Farmers Market opens mid-May and is held on Wednesdays from 2 to 6 p.m. and Saturdays from 9:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. The market is located at the Fairfield Church of the Nazarene at 81 Main Street. Second order of business is public hearings, to which we have none. Our third order of business is public comments, limited to 3 minutes. Members of the public may speak to the council on any item or reserve the right to speak on a specific item that is on the meeting agenda when the item is addressed. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to speak at this time? We'll reserve.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
My name's John. I'm going to let her speak. Okay. My name's John Jobber, and I own the medical marijuana facility up on 201 Norwich Road. And when we built the facility, we built it with the intention of adult use. So it was built, code enforcement was very involved with us, fire chief was very involved with us, so we built it to a life safety code. We also spent a lot of time with the planning board to make sure that we're in the right area. The other one here is Marlo and Jonathan, they're also in a similar thing, but they're up where the old candle building was. So there was indications that adult use would be accepted here, and we built quite a facility up there, and would love to have you guys come see it if you got a chance. And now we're getting indication that there's a possibility that adult use will not be accepted in the town of Fairfield. We're looking at expanding our facility. We probably already spent $300,000 on our facility. We're looking at possibly building a laboratory, processing facility. We're looking at buying or getting into negotiations with Phil Libra, the car redemption place. We're looking at possibly purchasing that and turning it into that facility as well. And we're going to spend a lot of money onto that, and we're in negotiations of buying it. And then we got the indication that there's a possibility of adult use, so the buildings really wouldn't be valuable to us in that regards. So we're looking for a little direction from the council on which direction you think the city of Fairfield is going to go as far as that, because we don't want to make additional commitments in the town if we're not gonna be able to process it. I mean, it will bring jobs, it will bring additional revenue, tax revenue, things like that to the community and help the community out in that way. We've also had DHS in our facility, and they've come in and they came in and said it was one of the nicest facilities they've seen. So we try to work with our neighbors and try to do all those kind of things as well.
So it's a question, when you say adult use, are you referencing retail sales, or was it your intention to have like a social club?
Not a social club.
Okay,
We actually have a store open now. So we have that, we have a grow facility, we have a processing facility, and we have a store as well in that space up there. So we want to expand to that, especially when adult use comes in.
What is it called?
Excuse me?
What is it called?
Northern Grown?
And you said it's on the Norwich Walk Road?
Yes, it's right up past Stanley Septic.
I don't know where that, I'm not familiar
It's
with
a
that.
building, I'd like to say I've owned it for 20 years, but my ex-wife and I, she owns it now, but I mean, we still work together and things like that, but we had had it since it was, we bought it from the furniture people, when it was a furniture building, 20-some years.
The intersection,
Okay.
right across from Shelley's.
Oh, okay. Well, I know where that is.
Right next door, yeah.
Okay.
So it's all we were looking for is guidance, maybe my time's up.
No, I was just thinking about I may come and tour your facility,
Oh, yeah.
since you extended the
Yes, we'd love to
invitation.
have it, I mean, we built a facility where, even the store, you walk into the store, it's not like you think, it's not like Joe's Smoke Shop, it's a very, nice place to come in, you'll feel very comfortable. My mother, my 92-year-old mother comes into it, and, just to see it and things, but every time the police come up, unfortunately, I set the alarms off, and the police come up, or they see and they come in, and every time they come up, I bring them in, just to show them, and just so they have an idea of what's going on, the design of it, and things like that. It's different, when you come in, I think you're gonna be very, very surprised to see it's more like a medical lab than is a marijuana facility that we tend to
Is
think
that
of.
what it's intended to be? Is it for a medical lab for somebody who's ill or has cancer or things like that?
That's what we're doing now, that's what we're using it, because it's, right now, it's a medical, as we only have now, it's medical use only, and that's what we're working at. We have various caregivers in the facility, all in different lock spaces and things like that. So each caregiver has their own lock space, and that's what DHS came in, that's what they want to check. They want to make sure you're not working together as a group.
Thank you.
Just a point of clarification from minutes, Councilor Rowden asked and inquired about whether or not there was intent for social clubs, and I wasn't quite sure if I understood the answer. Was it that you want to expand to that, or you were expanding everything else?
No, there'll be no social clubs in any of our facilities.
It's illegal,
Yeah.
statewide.
I would say that my personal view is that I do support retail marijuana sales to adults in Fairfield. I think at this point, process that we are going through is to get recommendations from code enforcement and the planning board about how that could play out, and then to take those considerations under advisement and make a decision. But I would definitely welcome continued input from stakeholders in that as we go through that process.
Is the board in general for or against the
That I don't know.
We haven't discussed that.
Oh, you haven't discussed that.
No.
The town has to opt in, and it depends upon whether it's a council opt-in or a total town meeting opt-in.
That was what I was just gonna say. We haven't received guidance yet as to how the opt-in process will work. As soon as we do receive that, which we are been told to expect now, should be coming anytime within the next couple of weeks. That will go to the council. So I'm right now anticipating that they don't have their first meeting in June next month, so it's only the second meeting in June next month, that there would be a discussion about this on their agenda. But that's as long as we receive the guidance as to how the municipality would proceed for the opt-in procedure. But we don't even know yet whether or not it has to be a special town meeting done by referendum vote, or whether it's a council vote. We don't even know how a municipality opts in at this point, so.
Okay.
But we'll extend the invitation for you to come back if you'd like to.
Would you let me send an invitation to all the members to, I could email you, just give you my information, and you could call, and then you could, if you would like to come, I'd love to show you around the facility.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can either send it to all of them, or you can just send it to me and I can make sure it gets forwarded to them as well.
Okay, then I'll just send
If
it to
that
you.
makes it easier for
If
you.
you wanted to, we could set up maybe a group tour, if they want, or individual tours, where they want to come up individual times, we'd be glad to have them.
Yeah, I can help you.
You'll be seeing me.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The only other thing I would note is that as the person that issues the doing business certificates in conjunction with the code enforcement officer, for both of these facilities and both of these owners, they are in full compliance with the town's regulations.
Okay.
They never fail.
Good.
Just
We're
like-
just
Thank you.
waiting on form and function at this point.
Is there anyone else from the public that wishes to speak at this time? Yes.
Hi, excuse me, I'm Marla Device. Oh, sorry. I'm Marla Device, and my husband and I have the other medical marijuana facility that's in town. We're on the Skowhegan Road. We currently don't have laboratory advancement in sight, but we have a garden supply store on site, and we do hope to do quite a bit of expansion. We're also doing medical sales retail right now. And just to add to what John said, I'd love to extend an invitation to you folks as well. You'd get a nice cross-section of two different facilities that are doing a couple of different things a little bit differently, but a really nice way to have you folks see how these operations are being run. We have also had super favorable feedback from officials, inspectors and what have you, that our facilities run super regulated and clean, sanitary, with great sanitation practices and what have you. So anyway, I will contact you and also extend individual or group tours as you'd like to come and visit. We'd love to have you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Okay, seeing none, moving on to our fourth order of business, reports from staff and committees. Town manager report.
So on May 16th last week, I attended the First Park Marketing Committee meeting. We interviewed a couple of firms that are going to be providing and helping assist First Park to put together a new marketing plan. They haven't had one in a large number of years, so they're hoping to do that. And then this past Tuesday, there was a KV-COG Board of Directors meeting. We're working on, we received an update regarding their audit, some changes in their staffing. Chris Huck, who is a Fairfield resident and has been a longtime member of KV-COG, is actually retiring, I believe mid-June, so he was recognized at that meeting. Chris Huck has done a great deal of work for the town when it comes to the planning board and those sort of pieces, so. Friday, I have a pre-permitting meeting with DEP and the folks regarding our solar project on our landfill. So that's gonna be a good meeting. If you don't remember, quite some time ago, DEP came in, did some full investigations at our landfill. We knew that we had some gas issues that were continuing and we think might have something to do with the vent pipes, so we're gonna be discussing that. They think that if there are repairs that are required, we may very well be eligible for the 90% reimbursement program through the state. So we knew that there could potentially be some things, and that's gonna be the kickoff of that meeting on Friday, so more details to come. But either way, regardless of what's there, Gizos Energy doesn't believe that it's anything that will interfere with the solar project, and soon hopefully be coming with an extended lease option and how all of that will work out. Plus, we're working with the Teagues to do the release for the property so that it becomes completely and totally Fairfield owned, so that'll be another good part. Paving projects have started, spring cleanup went well, tonnage collection was less than last year, you'll have details in your next month's report. I'm also meeting next week with a potential third solar project in town that a completely different entity is looking at bringing in, so we might very well be the solar capital of Central Maine before we're done, so that's good. And then also BR Fuels will have everything removed by June 4th. If there is anything left, we now actually have signed legal documentation that it is the town's right to do with what it pleases. There's no need for, typically in these situations, you could have to take things, put them in storage for 30 days before you can sell it, and we don't. That's all been released. So hopefully that will all be done. And that's it for me.
Excellent. I'm guessing there are no committee reports at this time.
Okay.
Okay. All right, then our fifth order of business, to waive the reading of and accept the minutes as printed or amended for meeting number 2018-09 held on May 9th, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion carries. Our sixth order of business, the treasurer's warrant. To approve the treasurer's warrant number 71 in the amount of $104,247.05.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carries. Our seventh order of business, take action on the following items of business. Item number 18-41, order that the town council hereby authorizes and signs the MSAD number 49 district budget referendum election warrant.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Just out of curiosity, this is an election that people are already voting in by absentee ballot, correct?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay. And I actually did want to raise, it struck me as an odd sequence that absentee voting, and I understand that that's set by state statutes, and we can do about that, but absentee voting started on May 14th. But the school district budget meeting wasn't actually until May 15th. And it just seems perplexing to me as a matter of process that we authorize voting in an election before we actually know what the question refers to.
So, that's a great question, it's a great opportunity to explain to folks. So what happens is when we do it separate, it means separate envelopes, running a separate election in CVR, the State Central Voter Registration System. What that requires is doing double the work to run two elections that are running concurrent together. And because it's a 2-day differential, what we have done is we have asked the school board, and they have never not worked with me since I've been here. The school board has always worked with my office on this schedule. They have to have their election within 30 days of their meeting. And absentee voting has to start 30 days prior to election. So they try to align that meeting in conjunction with the absentee voting as best as they can without interfering with our town meeting, which was a conflict this year. So what happens is we ask our voters, if they come in to get ballots prior to the school budget meeting, is would they not return them until after that budget meeting has happened? And so far, no one has ever said no, and I've never been forced to run two elections at the same time, with one exception. When they know there's a chance that budget's gonna get voted down and they have to line up two meetings, and then you don't have a choice, and that's, no one's fault per se. But they have always worked with me. It's a great efficiency that we gain. It saves us labor, it saves us paper. There's quite a bit of efficiencies we gain with that, and I can't express how grateful I am to the school board for their ongoing collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you for that information.
You're welcome.
It certainly makes it make a lot more sense.
Tremendous.
It's not an uncommon problem, though. It happens all over the state, and that
Right.
Title 21A and 30A really doesn't apply when it comes to schools, and it does make it difficult when you're trying to align it with the June election.
Yep.
Thank you. All right. Our eighth order of business.
Did you vote?
We have to vote.
We gotta vote,
Did you
yeah.
have to
I
vote?
moved to
You
call the
have to
question.
You just wanna skip over so you can go home early.
Fine. Is there any further discussion?
No.
Okay. All those in favor?
Opposed?
Opposed?
Abstains?
Abstains? Motion carries.
Okay.
Wow, that's what I get for checking it off early. Okay. Eighth order of business?
Yeah.
Okay. Council workshop and other business. Discuss sewer enterprise budget fiscal year 2018-2019.
So everyone received the corrected copy, and make a minor change. Or make a change. very happy to report that this budget, the way that it goes together, does not indicate that we need to do anything with changing our rates this year, which is good. This budget has come together and knowingly known that it was not going to be in the hole when we started, so that was good. In fact, it's actually 35,344 to the good, so. And that's with continuing keeping our capital reserve appropriations as they were last year, which remember we increased. So that's a good piece. Everything, minor increases as you see regarding wages, all of those pieces. There's still another round of billing left to go in this, but it looks like we'll actually finish this year, not in the red, but also in the black, so this will be good.
That's a bonus.
We will have covered all of our expenses. There is a big piece regarding capital reserves that we need to discuss. Last year, we had discussed putting aside the $50,000. And a big reason for that was we knew there was a potential for purchase of a new VAC-on truck, which we mutually own with Winslow. The town of Winslow has chosen to go ahead and purchase a new one this year. It's included with a lot of their bonding that they're gonna be doing with the school project and all of that. They have asked whether we would like to buy them out, and we would take their truck. Bruce is here to give you more information on that truck, and any other questions you have about this budget.
Good.
But the truck's current value, they believe, is at $50,000, so it would cost us $25,000 to purchase this truck, and we would own it outright, and they would just go get their new one, and that would end our partnership. But Bruce can answer more questions about that, so.
Please come up to the podium, sir.
Sure.
What year is that truck?
The existing truck is a 2000.
Is it 2000?
Yep.
In your expert opinion, mechanically speaking,
Very well. It's in excellent shape for the year. I mean, I had the mechanic go through it today, frame, good shape, everything. It's all in good shape. We did the state inspection today.
okay, so it's
We
not-
see no issues lasting several more years.
How many miles are on it approximately?
35,000,
Okay.
right? The miles on the truck don't really scare me. It'd be more so towards the unit on the back and the hours.
How many hours is it got?
I don't have that. I looked at it to see. Let me grab it so I can answer that. The main part of the back on has recently been replaced.
Oh, it has?
Yeah.
Good.
Life expectancy on that, is this the first one since 2000?
Yeah, it's the first one that the town has ever owned.
No, I mean, the replacement of that unit, is that the first time it's been replaced?
Yes, and it was
2000.
replaced in 2015.
Okay, so
15 years.
roughly 15-year
There's two
service
towns
life.
using it.
Yeah, there's 2 towns using it. We probably use it a third of what Winslow was using it.
Okay.
There's around 3,000 hours on the rear unit. I don't foresee an issue with that truck lasting us another 6, 7, 8 years.
Excellent.
And trucks new go for,
300,000.
That's it?
25 grand.
So the trade-in value would have been 50,000.
Wow.
And what Michelle and I have been speaking of is buying it out from Winslow for 25 would be our portion of that trade.
Okay,
Good deal.
doesn't sound like a bad deal at all. Any other questions for?
yeah, the only other piece that I wanted to add to that is this conversation about this truck did start last year, and the biggest reason why the town of Winslow was getting rid of it is because the GVW rating for the truck and its pieces and components it actually carries more than what it's rated. But that's how they're made. And it was discussed with our insurance company, and it's been discussed with various different folks, and everybody's aware that this is how these trucks are made, and nobody sees it as a liability issue at all. So they were just going out to get a large truck.
A larger truck.
Evidently, that's what they were doing. I don't know if that's what they actually got. I haven't seen,
I haven't seen the spec
The
sheet on what
specs
they
of what they
have
got.
ordered. I do wanna note that they won't have that truck until September-ish. They've ordered it, it's gonna take time to be built and so forth, so we're still gonna have our share agreement until that happens.
Is there anything that we have to add to this truck when if we decide that we're gonna get it? Like, I mean, anything at all?
No. No, what we've done since we did the joint purchase is 50-50. We've, you know, if there was a $700 part, we paid $350 and they paid $350. We've always housed it and they've always done the maintenance work. You know, it's just gonna shift that we do the maintenance work and the bill for the parts are ours.
Okay, so 8 or 10 years from now, when this gives up the ghost or it's finally decommissioned, where do we go back into an agreement with Winslow, or how are we?
we would have to look at that then. At this point, what I would think that we would do is that we would continue with our current now program for saving, for our capital reserve program, and that we would actually have budgeted enough to purchase our own new one,
We will.
and that we would have our own.
Okay.
Is there lettering on that, Bruce, that will have to be changed to say Town of
We'll just
Fairfield?
have to remove the Winslow Town seal. There's 2 town seals on the truck now.
And
We'll just remove the Winslow Town seal.
so it already has the Fairfield seal
It
on
does.
it as well?
It does.
Okay.
Yep.
So there's nothing that we have to pay for to do that?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else? Tom? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We've been looking at another project as well. It's not included in this budget, but just to give you a heads up, it'll be a while before we come back to you with it. It would also be a capital improvement purchase. We're looking at new monitoring systems that would be placed within all of our pump stations for our sewer. Right now, what happens is that if a pump station fails, there's a light that goes off and we hope that somebody sees it and then somebody gets called. There's actually the ability to put components in these pump stations where it would actually send a text message or a call or contact you. They're big systems or they're small systems, and there's actually a component that you can get through US Cellular. So we've been looking at that. To do all of our pump stations, it's roughly in the vicinity of almost $34,000 for 7 stations, with an annual operating cost of just under $2,000 a year. It's a lot of money. So we're looking at, do we do a portion? Do we, it doesn't really seem to be cheaper if we do one or if we do them all. Each one comes with its own price. And then we're also gonna be looking at seeing whether or not it's a possibility if we can even tie into KSTD's system itself. Because right now, the way this would look is, Winslow's also going to this, and we would tie into Winslow's server. We're trying to figure out a way to, is that our best option? Do we get our own server? Do we tie into KSTD's? Can we do something cheaper there? Because KSTD has a very large system that they have that monitors their pump stations all over the region. And it might be more feasible for us to tie into KSTD's and with the big station just down the road here, as opposed to trying to tie into a server that's in Winslow. So we're still exploring that, but it's definitely a service that we could use, but the current process we have works, even though it is very antiquated. This would definitely grant us larger efficiencies should pumps fail, because there's an opportunity for folks to actually receive information. Instead of just blindly calling folks out to go check the pump station, it might be just as simple as a reset, which you can actually do over your phone. So folks who have converted to some of these find that they do save themselves on call-ins and overtime. So we're just working on it, just so it's not a surprise later.
Okay. All right. Do we need a decision on, we do not require?
We do not require a decision on this tonight. This is
Okay.
just for your perusal. This is gonna come back to you at your last meeting in June. You will be required to do a decision then, because of course our fiscal year will be starting the year. Just a second. And then on a brighter note, we also issued our very first pool meter today for someone.
Excellent.
So it was kind of exciting.
All right. Is there anything else on the sewer budget?
We got
Okay.
that other thing taken care of, that at the last meeting, we were gonna reimburse, we did that, right?
We're still investigating that, we're gonna come back to you later,
Okay.
we're still working on that.
Okay, that was the only thing, so,
Yeah,
nothing else.
All right, discuss the town meeting. Any discussions on how the actual town meeting itself went?
Last year, we got a great idea from Beverly about pledging the flag.
Yeah.
So this year, I'd like to put forth a great idea in which all of our presentations at the beginning of the meeting actually be done on the floor. I think it's easier for the folks that are in the audience to get access to us. That might be something that would be better off to do. It seemed very cumbersome to have people come through and come up and around, and then they were stuck in the corner.
Well, we've done it on the floor before. It used to be done down on the floor.
Down on the floor,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think we'd like to set
Go
things
back
up
to that.
differently so that the microphones are in a little bit of a different spot and actually do those down on the floor for folks, so to make it a little bit easier, instead of
Yeah.
having them try to climb up the stairs and get around, so.
The handheld wasn't working, which is,
Right.
we ran into the challenge,
Yeah.
but we'll,
But-
I made a note for next year.
To do that for next year.
We're gonna vote on it?
Yeah, no.
You don't need to vote on it. So we usually do just a general meeting debrief, and if anything comes out of there, form and function wise, that needs to be fixed, it's good to have that
We
conversation.
fix it.
And sometimes what happens is this gets scheduled, you don't know, I mean, we could have had a budget fail and we needed to come back and discuss what all of our options were, so, but fortunately, everything went through just fine.
Good.
So there's obviously not as many people at the meeting as I think we would have hoped to have, and my understanding is that after I talked to a number of people who were at the school concert that was that same night, and,
Yes.
you know, our meeting is set by charter, so
Right.
I want people to know we don't have discretion as to when to hold that meeting, because I heard some people say, well, why would you hold it at night when you know there's a concert? Because unfortunately, this was set some number of years ago, and the most recent charter revisions did not change when the meeting happened. I know we don't have a charter review scheduled for another few years, but I think that when that comes up, it may be worth looking into having the ability to change the date of the town meeting to be more accommodating to people's schedules. Especially when there are events that get scheduled sort of well ahead of our meeting, but not necessarily in coordination with this.
I take one exception to that. We have it this time every year, which it's been for, well, I don't know how many years back it goes now, decades.
Before you were born.
Well, I just think the issue isn't necessarily proving that we're right, it's making sure that people
No,
can come to the meeting.
It isn't that,
if
people
there's-
need to learn to set their schedules around our town meeting.
Right, but the parents of children at the school don't decide when those concerts are either, and I think it's,
No, it's up to the
Right.
school.
School's deciding when the
And
concert is.
we need to work with the school and make sure that they're aware of those issues, but I think ultimately, when we reach a situation where we find that there is a conflict, where our residents are put in a position because people in charge of stuff can't or won't rearrange those schedules, that we can be flexible, because I don't think that inflexibility, just to prove that we're right about scheduling, is the way to go on this.
It's not a prove right or wrong, it's just a simple fact. We got 4,000 voters, we have 45 people that show up,
Right.
and it was at best 45 people at this school that would have showed up, so, you know.
Christine wants to be
Christine wants
recognized.
Yes,
I would just point out a couple of things. So the town meeting schedule is in multiple publications in advance. So it's set under the election schedule on the website and council as well. It's set in our Welcome to Fairfield packet. It's set in so many places. But also town report, the lead time I need for that published date is far in advance of when they schedule concerts. So there really isn't anything we can do to accommodate that, because the amount of lead time that our office is required to be ready for town meeting is too many months in advance. I just don't think that concert schedule was set before our town meeting was, and when I have to have it set by. Second, I would just note that in being your town clerk now for, more than 6 years, your attendance has, never been good, regardless of the
Right.
dates or conflicts, whether or not there was a conflict or not. we've had very comparable turnouts when there was no school event on the same
Yep.
night. So I don't believe that that conflict is the issue. A couple of people made note of
As
it,
you
it
say.
might have been one or two.
Might have been a few.
And I did clarify to the public inquiry the same response, that it's set by charter. There's nothing that the town can do about that at this time. So I would just make mention that we need way too much lead time, that the school isn't gonna be able to keep up with that for a concert schedule.
And they're also aware that it's aired on a certain channel, and if they do perhaps miss it, that they're gonna be able to see it if they have the channel on 1301, you know, hopefully, so.
The school board members that are elected by the Fairfield residents are also aware of when our town meeting is. So I'm not quite sure why this, because I was told the school didn't know, but all of our elected members are quite familiar with our town meeting schedule. There isn't a single elected official on that school board that wasn't aware
I'm
of when our
sure.
town meeting is held.
Sure.
I mean, our charter is going to be reviewed in what, 4 more years?
Yeah, it's about 4 more years, so we certainly can make a note of this.
I mean, we could put the flexibility of a day or two, one way or the other in that, on or about the week, the second week of June, or the first week of June.
Yeah.
You know.
And I do believe one of the drafts of the charter that came down actually had wording in it similar to that. It was to be held, I think it just simply stated a date in May, to be set by the council. But it might have been too vague, and it ended up reverting back. So there was some debate over that because of the fact that it was a date certain and it didn't provide flexibility, and there were some conversations over that. But it ultimately ended up reverting back to the very specific date in May. But I've made a note, and we're kind of keeping track of things, well, at least I am, of things if we run into it in the charter that might be worth a discussion.
I mean, we could state it as the second week of May.
Right, within the second week of May, exactly, and it doesn't necessarily have to be
Monday.
Monday at 7 PM.
Friday at 7 PM would be
It'd
fantastic.
be fabulous.
Yes, we could
So,
count on
But I definitely
12
will,
or
I've got
12 or
a,
13 people showing up.
I've got a
Yes.
note, and we'll put that in there, so.
We start getting requests for that date in December with the folks that are requesting funds at the close of the budget cycle. So November and December are when we're getting requests for that date. And the date is usually confirmed no later than your first January meeting of the month. I mean, we're talking 5 months lead time, and everything else I have to do to publish and prepare for this. So just keep that in mind. It's a long lead
Were you
time.
looking to address the chair?
Yes, I was. It was actually addressed on Thursday's school board meeting that the school consider this in the future to not schedule it on the same day.
Oh, good to know.
Good.
So I just wanted to let you know.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, appreciate that input.
With respect to the organizations requesting funding, I guess accommodating their schedule is actually frankly not, in my mind, our biggest concern. They have a much earlier deadline to provide us with their funding requests, and I mean, this year I think I observed 1 or 2 people from organizations requesting funding, and we were only addressed by one organization with respect to funding, and they were represented by a resident who was at the meeting anyway. And I know there was 1 or maybe 2 other representatives from organizations in attendance, but they didn't even address us. So I'm not sure that the funding issue was, that the organization issue is that dire in terms of that date. I think that the real issue would be the lead time for you to get everything done, and I respect that.
Yeah, it's just part of the process.
I believe even one of the organizations, we requested a meeting with them, and they've yet to,
That didn't even actually happen, yeah.
it never transpired. So, we've reached out to them, so.
Scared.
Anyhow, is there anything else on the town meeting that requires urgent discussion?
I don't think so.
No?
Hopefully by next year we'll have new chairs. Some of them are very bad, very bad.
Uh-huh.
That's it.
Let's see, discuss code and ordinance violations at 386 Skowhegan Road.
Gee, I wonder where that is.
So So the code enforcement officer, the fire chief, and I met with Mr. Dale and his representative and went back over all of the violations that were there from last fall, detailed them out, discussed potential fixes, gave him 2 weeks to have them completed, all of them completed. If they're not completed, we will just simply be going to legal about how we start the process and let you know what needs to be done. It doesn't appear that anything has been done. He has actually been ordered not to open his property to the public, but yet the doors, when you go by, are open and the sign says open. Because it is, for life safety issues, it is not safe for people to be in that facility at this time. The spaces for egress are not code compliant, and should something happen, there's a possibility that folks would be trapped. We will more than likely have to post the building with a very large sign, but we have until after Memorial Day to have that conversation. So that's just where we're at.
Okay.
So it was just one last effort to try to avoid going to court. They were reminded about how costly it was the last time, and that it could very well end up running just the same exact way. So we'll see how it goes.
Okay. Any other concerns on this topic? No, okay. All right, number 4, discuss other council business. Beverly?
No.
John?
Nothing.
Aaron?
I just want to encourage people to come out for the Memorial Day ceremony and parade. It's really a really important tradition for our town. I think most people who go to our park probably see that there's a huge monument there to those who have sacrificed everything for our country. And, you know, it is more than just a place to walk your dog and have a good time. It is a place to remember those who gave their lives. And once a year, we get together to do that. And I really hope that everybody can make it out to the park. The school band program does an excellent job together with the Legion and the VFW to make that really nice. So if everyone can come out to that, that would be great.
Thank you, Aaron. And I do not have anything pressing this evening. So with that, the next regular meeting of the Fairfield Town Council will be on Wednesday, June 27th, 2018. At this time, we will recess to sign all documents that require signatures. Do I have a motion to recess?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. We are in recess.